In a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of Chicago lived a 14-year-old boy named Ayaan Ramani. He was known among neighbors for two things: his thoughtful eyes and his habit of helping anyone who needed it. Ayaan's parents had immigrated years ago, bringing with them stories, traditions, and a deep belief that kindness was the strongest form of courage. Every morning before school, Ayaan helped his mother water their tiny garden. While other boys his age rushed to video games, Ayaan liked listening to birds, to wind, to people. His father always said, "Those who listen carefully hear trouble before it speaks." Ayaan didn't know how important those words would soon become. One chilly autumn afternoon, a moving truck rolled into the empty house across the street. Ayaan watched from his porch as a family stepped out: a tall man with tired shoulders, a woman holding a box of books, and two small children who clung to each other. They looked nervous. Ayaan walked over with a plate of homemade cookies. "Hi," he said politely. "I'm Ayaan. Welcome to Maple Street." The man smiled with relief. "I'm Daniel. This is my wife, Laura, and our kids, Emma and Josh. We just moved here." From that day, Ayaan became their first friend in the neighborhood. He showed Emma where to pick wildflowers, raced bikes with Josh, and helped Daniel fix a broken mailbox. The Ramani and Carter families quickly grew close, sharing dinners and stories. But not everyone in the area welcomed newcomers. At the far end of Maple Street stood an abandoned convenience store. Its windows were boarded, graffiti covered its walls, and people avoided walking near it after sunset. Ayaan had noticed unfamiliar men gathering there at night, men who didn't belong to the neighborhood. They spoke in low voices. They watched passing cars. Sometimes motorcycles arrived, engines growling like restless animals. Ayaan didn't like the feeling in his chest when he saw them. One evening, he asked his father, "Who were those men near the old store?" His father's expression tightened. "Some people choose dangerous paths, son. Best to stay away." Ayaan nodded, but curiosity and concern stayed with him. A week later, while riding his bike home from school, Ayaan saw Daniel arguing with two strangers near his driveway. The men wore dark jackets and impatient scowls. "You've got the wrong house," Daniel insisted. "I don't know anything about that." One of the men stepped closer. "You used to work for Harlan Logistics. You saw things. We just want information." Daniel shook his head. "I told you I quit months ago." The men exchanged a look before leaving. Their car sped off without another word. Ayaan pretended to adjust his bike chain until they disappeared. His heart thudded. Something was wrong. That night, Ayaan couldn't sleep. The scene replayed in his mind, the tension, the threat in the strangers' voices. He decided to ask Daniel directly the next afternoon. At first, Daniel hesitated, but Ayaan's sincerity softened him. "I used to work for a shipping company," Daniel admitted quietly. "I discovered they were smuggling illegal goods for a gang. When I reported it, I received threats, so we moved here to start fresh." Ayaan's stomach tightened. "Do they know where you live?" "I hope not," Daniel said, though his eyes showed doubt. Ayaan thought of the men near the abandoned store, the same jackets, the same hard expressions. He realized the danger had already arrived. Instead of panicking, Ayaan observed. He noted license plates, faces, and the times the gang gathered. He sketched details in a small notebook, just as his science teacher had taught him during nature studies. Every evening after homework, he sat by his window pretending to read while quietly watching the street. He noticed patterns. The gang met around 9 p.m. They left before midnight. One man always spoke while the others listened. Ayaan didn't tell his parents yet. He wanted to be sure. 3 nights later, Ayaan overheard something that made his blood run cold. Hidden behind a hedge while retrieving a lost soccer ball, he heard one of the men say, "Tomorrow night, We grab the man and search his house. Boss wants that file." Another replied, "What about the family?" A shrug. "They won't be a problem." Ayaan's hands trembled. They were talking about Daniel. He raced home, mind spinning. Calling the police seemed obvious, but what if the gang arrived before help could come? What if they fled and returned later? He needed proof and protection at the same time. That night, Ayaan knelt beside his bed and whispered a prayer for guidance. His fear didn't disappear, but it changed shape. It became determination. He remembered a lesson from his mother. Bravery is not loud. Sometimes it's a quiet decision that you will not let harm win. Ayaan stood up with a plan. The next evening, he slipped his father's old camera into his backpack and climbed onto the flat roof of his garage. From there, he could see the abandoned store clearly. At exactly 9, the men arrived. Ayaan photographed them carefully, zooming in on faces and license plates. His fingers shook, but he kept steady. Each click of the camera felt like a small shield forming around the Carter family. After 20 minutes, he had enough. He climbed down, rushed inside, and finally told his parents everything. At first, his parents were shocked, then proud, then worried. His father immediately called the police and explained the situation, sending them the photos. Officers promised to patrol the area, but they warned that gangs often acted quickly when they felt exposed. "We may not reach there in time if something happens tonight," one officer admitted. Ayaan glanced at the clock. It was already 8:40 p.m. Without waiting, Ayaan grabbed his jacket. "I'm going to warn them," he said. His mother tried to stop him, but his father placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. He saw something in his son's eyes. Fear, yes, but also resolve. "I'll go with you," his father said. Together, they hurried across the street. Daniel opened the door, surprised. Ayaan explained everything in rushed whispers. Laura covered her mouth in shock. "They're coming tonight?" she asked. "Yes," Ayaan said, "probably soon." Daniel's face hardened with decision. "We need to leave, now." They gathered essentials while Ayaan's father called the police again to update them. Within minutes, the two families slipped out through the back door and headed toward the Ramani house, which had a hidden basement storage room. Just as they reached safety, headlights swept across the Carter driveway. The gang had arrived. Through a basement window, Ayaan watched the men approach the empty house. They pounded on the door, then forced it open. Minutes passed. Suddenly, one man shouted, "They're gone!" Another snarled. Someone warned them. The leader scanned the street slowly, eyes sharp as knives. Ayaan held his breath. Sirens wailed in the distance.
A week later, a police officer visited Ayaan's school and presented him with a certificate of bravery. His classmates stared in amazement. Teachers smiled proudly. But what mattered most to Ayaan wasn't the applause. It was seeing Emma and Josh playing safely in their yard again. That evening, sitting beside his father under the fading sunset, Ayaan asked, "Was I really brave?" His father considered. "Bravery is not the absence of fear. It is choosing what is right even when fear is loud." Ayaan nodded slowly. Across the street, Daniel waved. The children laughed. The street felt peaceful again. Life returned to normal. But something had changed inside Ayaan. He understood now that heroism didn't require strength or weapons or fame. Sometimes it required observation, patience, and a heart that refused to ignore danger when others might. He still watered the garden every morning. He still listened to birds and wind. But now, when neighbors looked at him, they saw not just a thoughtful boy. They saw a guardian. One night, Emma asked him, "Weren't you scared?" Ayaan smiled. "Very."
These are looking really healthy.
"Then why didn't you run
They
away?"
are. The water is helping.
He looked up
Yeah,
at the night
teamwork.
sky, where a
Always.
thin crescent moon glowed beside scattered stars. "Because," he said softly, "if you see someone in danger and you can help, you don't run. You stand." Years later, people on Maple Street would still tell the story of the boy who noticed what others missed, who acted when others hesitated, and who proved that courage has no age, no accent, and no boundaries. And whenever someone asked Daniel what saved his family that night, he always gave the same answer: a good heart and a brave boy who chose kindness over fear.